Will you finish this series before 2026?
No. No, I don't think I will.
I'm joking. I'm planning on finishing this series before 2026 and I'm trying to reach 10k by the end of the year, so you can help me by subscribing if you haven't already. First tank on the list is the M4A3 105. This American-German variant is really solid. It has a strong and well-angled armor that can bounce most enemy shots unless it's from a German cannon. The gun can fire both HE and heat shells, which can overpressure most tanks in face. I usually stick with heat since it offers a nice mix of penetration and explosive filler, making it great for brawling and long-range engagements. The only real drawbacks for this tank though are the long reload and slow turret rotation, but it has a decent mobility and plus smoke grenades and a 50 cal, which makes it pretty survivable. A tier. The M4A1. This is one of my favorite tanks in the game. Back when I was new to the game and I unlocked this tank, I immediately noticed how good it was. It has a strong cannon with a quick reload, and unlike the M4A3 105, the turret turns much faster and the stabilizer makes it a reliable brawler. The armor might not look good on paper, but it's rolled and angled so it can hold up really well. And thanks to its mobility you can flank, brawl and even take fights at longer ranges sometimes. A tier. The M4. This tank is very similar to the M4A1, but the armor is different. It's welded inside of cast and honestly it's a bit worse in comparison. It has a few weak spots, but it's still survivable and can bounce most shots. And just like most Shermans, the M4 also has the MG port in addition to these weak spots that, even with the extra armor there, are usually easy to penetrate. Regardless, the Sherman is really solid and definitely deserves that A tier as well. Moving on to Germany with the Panzer III L. This German medium tank is just as capable as its predecessors. It features a solid cannon with a fast reload and can penetrate most tanks at 3.0. The armor has also been improved with additional space plates that can protect against heat shells sometimes. The Panzer III L is just as fast as the previous variants, making it a highly effective tank overall. A tier. The Panzer III M. This is basically a slightly upgraded Panzer III L. It has extra spaced armor on the sides of the hull and turrets, plus smoke grenades, which improves its survivability. A tier. The Panzer III N. This is another Panzer III variant that's pretty similar to the Panzer III M, but it comes with a different cannon. It has the same short 75 gun we saw on the Pz.III and some early Panzer IV variants. The APH is too weak for 3.0 now, but the heat shells are still fairly strong, even if they are hit or miss sometimes. Overall, the Panzer III N is decent, though the cannon can hold it back sometimes. B tier. The Panzer IV F2. Unlike the F1, the Panzer IV F2 comes with a much stronger cannon that can easily take out any targets in a single shot. The armor is the same, but it is improved with some tracks that can help a bit with survivability, but it can still be taken down easily. A tier. The Panzer IV G. This is the next variant in the Panzer IV line. It's a lot like the Panzer IV F2, but with a thicker hull armor, which makes it a bit heavier and slightly slower. But the extra armor gives it better survivability, letting it shrug off more hits while still packing the same reliable gun. A tier. The Panzer IV H. Honestly, this tank is the peak of the Panzer IV line. It comes with the long 75 cannon which can punch through most tanks even in higher BRs. The armor is also improved with the combination of add-on tracks and side skirts for extra protection, especially against heat shells. The extra armor makes it slightly slower and less mobile than the earlier Panzer IV variants, but it's still a very solid and reliable tank. S tier. The Panzer IV J. This is the final version of the Panzer IV and in some ways a downgrade from the Panzer IV H. It keeps the same gun and armor layout but has a manual turret drive, so the turret rotation is slower. The Panzer IV J comes with smoke grenades, but it loses the side skirts and has less add-on armor coverage, but the base armor is the same. It's still a dangerous tank despite the downgrades. A tier. There is also the Pz.Bef IV J, which is basically the command variant of the Panzer IV J. Other than being premium, it's almost identical with the addition of the wire mesh side skirts. A tier.
The Pz.IV 1940. This is the first tank in the Pz.IV line and it's a great one to start with. The gun is decent but it can feel a bit weak when you are up against Shermans or Churchills and the reload is slow compared to other tanks at 3.0. Regardless of the drawbacks, it's a really solid medium tank and a strong intro to the Pz.IV line. B tier. There is also the Pz.IV prototype, which is very similar to the Pz.IV 1940 but is a bit faster and overall is pretty much the same. The Australian cruiser Mark I Sentinel. This is Australia's first attempt at a cruiser tank and honestly it's very unique. It's decently mobile for its size and the armor is really survivable, being angled and rounded all over, which makes it tough to pen unless you know the weak spots. It has the same quick reloading 40mm gun as the previous British tanks, and it can do the job but it tends to struggle, especially the APHE shell that is no longer effective. Honestly, it's a solid first step for Australia's cruiser tank line. B tier. Valentine IX. This British tank comes with a gun that's actually pretty solid. It can pen most tanks you'll face at 3.0 easily. The problem is everything else. This thing crawls along at just 24 kph, so you'll be checking your calendar by the time you reach the D point. It has the same hull as the previous Valentines, and while the armor worked fine at 2.7, at 3.0 it just can't stop anything you face, since most enemies can knock it out with a single shot. D tier. The Cromwell V. This is one of the faster British medium tanks and you really feel it. The mobility is great, so flanking enemies is really effective. The armor though is not the best. It can block some shots but most guns at this BR will go right through it. The 75 cannon is pretty okay with decent reload and it is just as good as the American 75 in terms of penetration, but the AP rounds lack HE filler so the post-pen damage is pretty mediocre. B tier. The Cromwell V RP3. This is basically just a regular Cromwell V but with 4 unguided rockets strapped to the side of the turret. Everything else is the same, so B tier as well. The Cromwell I. This tank is the first in the Cromwell line. It is very similar to the Cromwell V but it comes with a stabilized 6-pounder cannon instead of the 75 and it offers extra penetration and also has a faster reload. A tier. The Ram I. This Canadian tank is basically the transitional step from the M3 Elite to the Sherman. It's built on the M3 chassis but swaps the awkward hull gun for a proper turret, so it feels a lot like a Sherman. The mobility is decent and the armor can hold up in some cases, but the 2-pounder gun really holds this tank back. It really struggles against anything with decent armor. Overall, it is an okay tank, but I honestly don't enjoy playing British tanks at 3.0 because I get more assists than kills in every game. C tier. The Ram II. The Ram II is basically an upgrade Ram 1 with a stronger cannon and unusually for low tier, an engine smoke system. Mobility and armor are similar but the extra firepower makes a noticeable difference. It was designated as the M4A5 by the Americans and that's the same name it carries in US 3. A tier. The Shino. This tank is basically a sluggish Japanese Sherman. The turret rotation is slower and the reload takes a little longer, but the APHE rounds pack a stronger punch due to the extra HE compared to the American ones, and while the armor is thinner, it's surprisingly survivable. The Shino is an okay tank overall, though it still falls behind other mediums at its BR. B tier. The M4A4. This Sherman variant is on the Chinese and French trees. It's not too different from the regular M4 Shermans aside from the missing 50 cal and having slightly stronger engine. The lack of a 50 cal is a slight drawback since it's very useful at low tier, but other than that, the tank performs pretty much the same. A tier. The P40. This is Italy's first proper medium tank and it feels a lot like a cross between a Panzer IV and an early Sherman. It's got decent mobility and the 75 gun is very solid, firing APHE, heat and HE. The APHE can work in some scenarios, but the heat shell is more capable for 3.3. The armor is nothing special, but it can bounce some shots, just don't count on it saving you against stronger cannons. Overall, this is one of the few Italian tanks that is actually pretty fun and effective to use. B tier. It is also the P40 GC Leoncello that is pretty much the premium variant of the P40 with no gameplay differences. The Sherman V. This is basically the Italian M4A4, same gun, same armor, same mobility, just in the Italian tree with a unique skin. The Sherman I Composito. The Sherman hybrid is basically Italy's take on the early Sherman. It has the same gun and mobility as the M4, and the armor is a combination of cast and welded plates, which is why it's called Composito. A tier. Panzer IV IV. Unlike in the game, this was actually an experimental Swedish tank destroyer. It shares the same 57 cannon as the Pvkv III with the additional APDS rounds that can pen over 170 mils of armor. The turret rotation is painfully slow, which makes the close fights really frustrating. On top of that, the armor is paper thin, so almost any shot will go through easily. This tank is the definition of a glass cannon, best played as a sniper or flanker where you can use the gun's accuracy and penetration without being seen. If this was a tank destroyer tier list video, this tank would sit comfortably in B tier or C tier, but in this video it feels out of place, so best I can do is F tier. The Panzer IV. This is basically the German Panzer IV J with a finished skin and some slight downgrades. Same gun, same armor, same mobility, but it lacks the add-on tracks and the roof-mounted MG. Other than that, it's pretty much the same, so A tier as well. The Sherman III and IV. This experimental Sherman hybrid is a modified variant of the classic Sherman that keeps the reliable 75 gun while getting a stronger engine for a higher top speed and a much better acceleration. The armor is also improved by removing the whole MG port, which is a classic Sherman weak spot, and although it lacks the welded side plates and the 50 cal, it remains a very powerful tank at 3.7. S tier. Alright guys, here is the final tier list. Let me know what you think and which one was your favorite medium tank. Light tanks part 3 video coming soon, so subscribe.